Today we welcome back Dr. Rekha Sharma, an Ayurvedic doctor, to continue our conversation about important health topics and the natural healing practices of Ayurvedic medicine. My name is Sarah Fletcher. I'm the Executive Director of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce, and you're watching Meet the Members. Welcome back, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you.
Today you're discussing a topic that is challenging and maybe even a little embarrassing, but certainly the information will be invaluable to the health and well-being of many people. So today our topic is IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. And I just read that 10 to 15% of the U.S. population is suffering from symptoms of IBS. So that's a lot of people.
Right.
Why don't you start by telling the audience how IBS is seen in Ayurveda?
Okay. According to Ayurveda, IBS is the deviation of Vata, Pitta and Kapha at your gastrointestinal tract level, especially your small intestine, which is the site of absorption of enzymes and assimilation of the digested food, and pushing it through the large intestine for the expulsion. And in generally speaking, Ayurveda also consider illness, infections, genetic process, and then stress. It also contributes to the altered intestinal motility, which we describe as irritable bowel syndrome. Why irritable bowel syndrome? Because the person is in constant discomfort because of the altered bowel movements.
Okay. So we know from previous shows that we have, Ayurveda looks at what we call doshas.
Right.
So we have the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha
Right.
doshas, which are in the general makeup of the whole
Right.
physiology, right?
Right.
Your mental states, emotional, physical.
Right.
So why don't you give us a quick overview of what the doshas are?
Absolutely. So Ayurveda works on the fundamentals of 5 elements: air, space, fire, water and earth. And depending upon these 5 elements, we have got 3 kinds of doshas, that is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So Vata is your kinetic energy of the body, Pitta is your thermal energy of the body, and Kapha is your potential energy of the body. So there are basic properties of these Vata, Pitta and Kapha which are further contributing in IBS. There are particular properties which play a major role in IBS. So Vata, the dry component, and Pitta, the fire component, that is the heat, and Kapha, the moisture and mucus. So all the moisture and mucus we see in the gut, in your mouth, in your intestinal tract, that is contributed basically by Kapha.
Okay, and the doshas are relating further to this in the digestion system and the breakdown of what's going on. Can you further describe that?
Right. So everybody talks about nowadays digestive fire, but Ayurveda is further classifying digestive fire into 4 categories according to these body types. So Vata leads to unstable digestive fire, Pitta leads to aggravated digestive fire, and Kapha leads to low digestive fire. And when Vata, Pitta and Kapha are in balance, it leads to balanced digestive fire. So what is unstable digestive fire? In unstable digestive fire, sometimes there is normal digestion or there is sometimes partial digestion. So it's not fixed, that's why it's unstable. In Pitta, the person is in constant hunger and the fire is so strong that it is able to digest huge amount of food in small amount of time. And Kapha have low digestive fire. It means the person is not able to digest even the smaller quantity of food in longer span of time. So to be able to digest your food properly, for the proper absorption and assimilation of the food, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, your digestive fire has to be in balance. Doesn't matter which body type you are.
So what happens when they're out of balance?
So that I'm going to explain. Let's first talk about how it is connected to our digestion.
Okay.
Let's talk about, so as I explained before, Vata is your kinetic energy of the body. So all the movement of the gastrointestinal tract is basically under the control of Vata, that is the kinetic energy. And Pitta is the heat component, that is the thermal energy. So it is a great essence of the digestive fire, that is your Jaఠaragni, which is situated right in the center of your body. So it contributes to as a fuel for combustion, burning down the food into smaller particles right in the center, as you can look at the diagrammatic representation. And all the moisture in the mucus which is required for the digestion of the food, whether it be in your mouth when you are chewing, the salivary secretions, whether it's expulsion through the large intestine, the softness of the mucus, the moisture of the mucus is provided by the kapha component of the body. So it completely makes sense how we can relate this aspect to the modern terminology. The 5 elements are playing an important role in your body: your kinetic energy, thermal energy, and your potential energy. So when I talked before, potential energy is what? The water and the mucus component of the body.
Okay, so we have all of those components working together. When they're in balance,
Right.
it's all good. But
Right.
when it goes out of balance,
Right.
it's creating some disturbances.
Yeah, and let's say a person's digestive fire is not proper, or it's a poor digestive fire, whether it be vata, whether it be pitta, whether it be kapha, doesn't matter. Each of the digestive fire is going to bring about a food with no nutritional value. See, if your digestion is not proper, the plasma or the rasa which is coming out after the digestion is not proper. So, doesn't matter how good food you eat, but if its digestion is not proper, how can the food can have a nutritional value at the end? So, when the digestive fire is poor and the residual component is coming up, that is called ama in Ayurveda, that is called toxin in Ayurveda. It is a residue of the undigested food or the partially digested food. It is a sticky and a smelly substance which sticks to your intestine and it sits there. And person digestive fire is still not coming into balance. The ama gets more into production. Ama furthermore leads to more ama, as I talked in my previous show, excess ama.
So ama is being created when you have poor digestion at whatever
Right.
level a dosha is.
Right.
It's creating this.
Right.
It's a toxin buildup, a toxic buildup.
It's a toxin. It's foul smelling, sticky substance, and excess ama, what it leads to, clogs the body channels.
Mm-hmm.
And when it clogs the body channel, that furthermore leads to the aggravation of the doshas. So if you can look at the diagrammatic representation, it's a cycle going on. But even still at this stage, the disease has not occurred. A person is always getting enough signs and it gets neglected for years and years and years, and the cycle keeps going on and going on.
We do. We ignore our
right?
symptoms. Sure.
And at one day you are declared,
or
okay.
take something that's going to just soothe it.
Yeah, you keep going for your physical, and 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, the third year the doctor says, okay, you have this disease. So you say, I never had this last year. But it was going on, the cycle was going on, right? And ama is the one which is responsible for the origin of most of the diseases. Because you might have noticed when you eat certain kind of foods, after eating those, you develop discomfort. Maybe a pain if you're suffering from arthritis, maybe a gastrointestinal infections or something, because you ate that particular kind of food. But ama was already there, and when you ate that food, it led to more ama. And talking about these days, when you talk about gastritis, duodenitis, ulcerative colitis, bronchitis, laryngitis, what it is?
All the itises, yeah.
Yeah, all the itises. It is inflammation. So how does this inflammation gets produced? It is because of faulty digestion. Ayurveda declares like 90% of your health issues are because of improper digestion. And if you look at this diagram in the center, it clearly states the Jaఠaragni, which we call as digestive fire, is situated right in the center of your body. So it's controlling your systemic and lymphatic system.
all we have is what we eat, right? I mean,
Right.
it's what
So what your
creates our
nutritional
body.
components are coming out after the digestion of the food, like small intestine is the source of absorption of all the nutrients, magnesium, vitamin B12, and bile salts and everything. So if your digestion is not proper, how can your health be proper? So ultimately, it leads to the formation of IBS.
Okay, and then we have even more of a description with the doshas in
Right.
IBS. So,
Right.
you want to continue with that, or do you?
Yeah,
know?
sure.
Okay.
So according to Ayurveda, depending upon these three doshas, we have got 4 kind of IBS: Vata IBS, Pitta IBS, and Kapha IBS. And the last one is Tridosha IBS or the complex IBS. So in Vata IBS, there is more of constipation. As I explained before, now I'm going to correlate it, interconnect it, and it will make proper sense to you. So we need proper medium for the undigested or the waste material to be out of your gut. So when Vata is too much in the body, it brings about dryness of the gastrointestinal tract, which leads to constipation or incomplete evacuation of the bowel movement. Incomplete evacuation of the bowel movement is again very dangerous, because when the feces get dried up too much, they stick to your intestines and they keep sitting there, and when it's not removed for a longer time, the fresh bowel movements start slipping over it. So you have a proper resource of toxins sitting there, which is leading to more production of ama. So there is no way till the time the mucus is generated over there, it soothes the intestine, it will get removed from there. And then in Pitta, because of the heat, the consistency of the food is becoming more liquidy. So the bowel movements will be loose. And in Kapha, the mucosa is damaged and the person start passing mucus in the stools. Or in worst cases, when mucosa is more damaged, it further lead to release of blood in the stools. And then in Tridoshas, depending upon the combination happening, we can have Vata Pitta or Kapha together manifesting in a person. So IBS is one size doesn't fit all. It is totally client specific depending upon what kind of signs and symptoms they are presenting with. So we cannot have just one line of treatment for that, especially in Ayurveda.
Right. Well, it's very specific, what you're describing.
And this is my message for people who have the tendency to skip their breakfast. Please don't skip their breakfast, because you have to remember the God has created this beautiful body and it's in proper equilibrium. And when you are doing that, you are bringing in equilibrium. And when there is no food, your body is the food.
Or maybe even having those over-the-counter kind of general remedies.
Yeah.
You can't give someone with a very specific problem a
Right.
general remedy for, without causing probably more problems.
And Sarah, eating food is not important. Eating the right kind of food and eating at right interval, that is more important. Mostly the problem is people are rushing in the morning, skipping their breakfast, stacking in the night. That's one of the leading cause of IBS. All your 3 doshas are in imbalance, right?
Yeah, well, so we have a guest here, and she's going to remain anonymous for her own privacy, and we respect that. But she has very graciously come on to chat with us about her experience with improving her digestive system. You've been working with her. She's a client of yours. And so we welcome you to the show. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here and actually happy to talk about this subject as well.
Fabulous. So I'll let you lead the way. What can you tell us?
Okay.
About your
Well, IBS is something that I suffered with for a very long time, probably before it was even termed IBS. I didn't know what it was at the time. And I tried everything. I tried different medications, over-the-counter medications, not eating certain foods, eating certain foods. Nothing was in balance. I didn't really know where to start with actually healing it and feeling better all over. And I was introduced to Dr. Sharma and went to see her, not exactly knowing what was going to happen, but at this point I was willing to try just about anything. And we had a very nice first meeting, which included a physical and a lot of frank discussion. Even though it can be embarrassing, I was as frank as could be. And from that, I left with a series of different things to add to my diet. Some things to take out, some things to add. And one of the key things was a morning juice, all fresh vegetables and fruits. And that was started with a couple other changes to diet, and then I'd go back and we'd discuss how that was. And over time, it wasn't one glass of juice and I'm better.
Right.
Over time, I started feeling better. My digestive system was more in balance. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't as constipated, as embarrassing as that could be, as I had been. And she tweaked what I was given over time in order to meet where I was in that process. And toward the end, she also added some organic natural herbs as a supplement to the other foods and the juicing that I was doing. And they all kind of came together. I actually fit one of the profiles of it, so it did come together, and I'm actually feeling a lot better and continuing on that process of eating more healthy and natural according to what I was prescribed.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story
Thank you so much.
and for being here today and being as open and frank as you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
So great. And so we've heard now that she's been on a natural diet, some juicing, some vegetables and things that she's added to the diet. Why don't you talk about some general directions and remedies?
Sure. So in her case, basically her vata was deviated to very high degrees. So as you can hear from her, like she has been suffering with this past 35 years. That's how it was reported to me. 35 years, same problem, struggling with that. And vata brings about dryness, as I explained. So first thing I had to do is make her intestinal system more soothing, rich in moisture and mucus, which provides a medium for the feces to move out. So that we did with the natural herbs and juices and some changes in diet, because she don't know what her body type is, and Ayurveda is all about focusing what your body type is.
Mm-hmm.
So we took out the Vatic diet from her lifestyle and added more Kaphaj, calming things, and she's doing pretty fine.
Can you give a couple of examples of the diet?
Yeah, sure.
Things you would introduce?
So in talking generally, so if we talk about any kind of IBS, whether be Vata, Pitta or Kapha or Tridoshaj, we can add, there's certain things in our diet which can help to improve our digestion. So first is drink plenty of water, have enough sleep, add ginger, cumin and fennel to your diet. They improve your digestion, and also drink a little bit of buttermilk in your diet. Even if you're not having IBS, there is no harm drinking buttermilk, unless or until, again, the formula applies. If you have allergies, please ask your healthcare provider.
Right.
Why buttermilk? So,
Right, because we had talked about this
Right.
actually before the show.
Yeah.
Now, when I was growing up, buttermilk had a certain
Right.
meaning in my head about what it was. But we can buy buttermilk over the counter, or we can get a yogurt, as you told me about, to dilute the yogurt.
so buttermilk is actually highly energetic. It is stimulating and strengthens the digestive fire, and it is fit for any kind of IBS the person is suffering from, and it is highly easily digestible and supportive for your digestive fire. So in India, usually the ratio can be yogurt is to water, and you can go with the ratio 1:2, 1:3 after the meals or before the meals. It's excellent.
So 2 cups of, 1 cup of...
1:2.
1 cup of yogurt, plain yogurt,
Plain.
unsweetened, just plain
Plain yogurt. Yeah.
moderate, low fat, doesn't matter,
No, doesn't matter.
to 2 cups of water or 3 cups of water, and you mix that
Yeah.
well with a blender,
Yeah.
and then that's what you're calling the buttermilk.
Yeah.
And that's good
Yeah.
to drink.
Right.
Okay.
And then, especially for people who suffer from constipation, there's a natural home remedy they can do. Add some okra to their diet. So, okra is rich in vitamins, folic acid. The mucus in okra is so beautiful. It traps the excess cholesterol and remove it in your feces. It also soothes your intestinal lining through its mucus and making them more soothing and brings down the inflammation. So people who usually eat okra generally don't suffer from constipation. And last but not the least, we have pear. Pear is an excellent antioxidant.
Just the regular fruit, the pear.
Yeah, because pear is available over the counter, but usually it gets neglected. But the properties are awesome. So it is rich in vitamin C. It has 84% of water, 6 grams of fiber. It lowers down your cholesterol, manages your weight and hypertension, and definitely it takes care of your constipation as well. So adding 1 medium-sized pear will also help to lower down constipation. And buttermilk can go with any kind of doshas you have.
So in Ayurvedic medicine, we're looking at really a natural healing process to bring your body back into balance,
Yeah.
get your digestion back into balance. You're working with
Right.
herbs and vitamins, but also a lot of just fruit, common everyday fruits and vegetables that you can add or take away from your diet depending on your body type.
Right. And for the viewers who might not know if they are heading towards IBS or they are already suffering, so I would like to explain there are certain signs of manifestations of IBS before it begins and grows more stronger. In Vata people, if there is a deviation happening, you will see constipation, flatulence, cold feeling, dryness of skin, mouth and throat. In Pitta people, there is more diarrhea, hyperacidity, sweating and burning sensation. And in Kapha, there is dysentery, which I explained before, either the blood or either the mucus when there is damage at the mucosal lining of the intestine. And because of the poor digestive fire, because of the low metabolic fire, because of Kapha, the person can have nausea, vomiting, and constant heaviness in the belly, and excessive salivation is one of the classical signs of Kapha.
All right.
So I think this show will give a lot of information to people how different doshas can get connected to your digestive system. It's very simple.
It's simple. It might be
I tried to make it
new
simple.
information.
Yeah, I tried to make it simple, especially for the non-Indian population, and I have kept it very, very simple and my message very straightforward, that eat healthy and eat right, and at right intervals. I will stress again, eat at right intervals.
Intervals.
Yes, that's very important.
Throughout the day.
Yeah, no
3
skipping the meals.
No skipping meals.
Yeah, because generally when we are hungry, we are stopping at a fast food. We are never stopping at a grocery shop and pick up a banana or a pear.
So you can find Dr. Rekha Sharma at her office in Westford. You can, that's at
Westford Center for Counseling and Holistic Therapies. I work with Edith Griffin, and I also work with Joyce at To Your Spell. So
Okay.
I can
And you have a website, www.rekhasharmawellness.com, which will show on the TV. And the number is 774-232-6245. If you'd like more information about natural healing with Dr. Rekha Sharma, please reach out and contact her. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today.
well, thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Thank you.
you.